Hey everybody, let's welcome back to LIV Golf Adelaide 2025. We are thrilled to be joined today by the captain of Smash GC, Brooks Koepka, the Premier of South Australia, and our new CEO, Scott O'Neill. Welcome everybody. Premier, we are back for year 3 of LIV Golf Adelaide, and this year is shaping up to be the biggest event of all time in LIV Golf history. We've seen continued growth year on year with both attendance and the economic impact to South Australia. Can you just tell us how important LIV Golf Adelaide is to South Australia and this market?
It's a big deal, Jamie. I mean, in that first year, we had high hopes for what LIV would do to our city and our state economically, but we also appreciated it was likely to start from a modest place, given that LIV Golf was very much in its infancy. And then, of course, year 1, it shoots the lights out and exceeded everyone's expectations. So pretty rapidly, we changed our thinking to evolve from, we hope this goes well, to, right, how do we now maximise this opportunity? How do we take that base and turn it into a genuine year-on-year growth proposition? And that's not easy to do when you are starting from a relatively high base in short time. So to see this year more tickets sold than the previous 2 years, to see our hotels more full and forward sales at over 10% up, to see more tickets being sold yet maintaining that level of about 40% of all tickets being sold to people from either interstate or overseas, is something we're very grateful for. We don't get this opportunity without LIV investing their confidence in the partnership between the South Australian government and themselves. And I think it's been a reciprocally advantageous relationship, and we just want that to continue. But, I've had a chance to have a quick look around at some of the infrastructure here that's been set up. There are, new elements to it. There is more capacity. The weather's looking good for the weekend. But the most important thing from my perspective isn't just the crowd numbers or the hotel rooms being full. The most important element of all of this is what it does to the awareness of Adelaide and South Australia as a place to do business. And we've worked really hard as a government to set ourselves up to be in a strong position with some good foundations, and we can seal a few deals on the back of that through to the platform that LIV provides. There are a lot of people coming to Adelaide this weekend that wouldn't ordinarily come here. From interstate in particular, some serious corporate types, and by the end of the weekend I'll be hoarse after cheering their ear out, but that's an opportunity that this platform provides, but we're grateful for.
Premier, why do you think that South Australia and Australia as a whole has embraced LIV Golf so wholeheartedly?
The short answer, and hopefully I don't say anything that...
I was just going to say the last answer, what he said. That's pretty good.
Look, there are two reasons. One, because Australian golf wasn't getting the recognition that it deserves from investors and the rest of the world. This is a sporting nation, and golf is part of our sporting identity. And it was sort of looked over and ignored. I mean, Australian golf fans could only dream of having a Brooks Koepka playing here amongst all of the others. Like, it was seen as a fantasy. LIV Golf gave the opportunity to achieve that. So naturally, fans responded. That's the first reason. The second reason is the LIV product itself. Beyond the superstars, the feel walking around a LIV event is unique. It's a bit different, and it accords with the egalitarian nature of Australia, that idea that things should be accessible, slightly more relaxed, taking the golf seriously, but not taking each other too seriously, not taking ourselves too seriously. That's part of who we are. So when you can get in the proximity of a superstar like Brooks, but do it while you're wearing shorts and a beer in your hand and just a bit of music in the background, and then when the party starts later on to really throw yourself at it, that's Australia. So it's the opportunity that LIV presented for high quality professional golf in Australia, tick, but then the product accords with who we are as a country. So it's just a beautiful synergy that comes to life.
And you've talked about how Australia is a sporting nation, and LIV Golf has cemented itself in Australia's sporting calendar in such a short amount of time. Right before us is the Australian Open, then LIV Golf, and then the Grand Prix. Is that a testament to what we've been able to accomplish in 3 short years?
I mean, this is now at the pinnacle of Australian sporting events to attend. It is now on people's bucket list. You know, once upon a time they'd say, oh, you know, you ask a young teenager, what's your sporting bucket list in Australia? And you might have, you know, an AFL grand final, get to the Australian Open. Well, now, LIV Golf is on that list. Like, people want to do it. But to do that they're legacy events that have built a reputation. The Melbourne Cup is another one. That built a reputation over 50 to 100 years. We've done it in 3 years. The one thing I'd say is this: we can't take it for granted. Not LIV, not the host city, which we hope to be us in the long term. You can't take it for granted. You've got to earn the right for people, particularly in an economic environment where costs are going up. You've got to earn the right to say, if you're going to spend your money, do it here. And that's where we want to make sure we're investing and evolving. And I think you'll see evidence of that over the course of the next 3 days.
Scott, welcome to LIV Golf Adelaide, your first time here. We always say that LIV Golf Adelaide is the blueprint for what LIV is going to be eventually all around the world. How important is LIV Golf Adelaide to this schedule, and how does it align with your vision for the future of LIV Golf?
Sure. Well, first off, it's wonderful to be here. For us, it always starts with the golf, always, and we're blessed with the best golfers in the world. We have one of them sitting up here with us, Brooks Koepka, Cam Smith, and the Rippers are quite incredible. Bryson DeChambeau and Phil Mickelson, and I mean it's a who's who of golf for us. And so for us, it always starts with the golf. When we talk about locations, first off, it has to be a public-private partnership. And in some locations, that's really complicated. In here, we have extraordinary leadership, a visionary premier, and that's really helpful. It also, having a wonderful golf course and a world-class golf course is a key component in any location we go. And the LIV brand is different and special. It is the kind of new version and modern version of what golf's supposed to be. And here, I think, is the quintessential example when you have that kind of incredible blend of world-class golf on a world-class course, and music and culture and food and the experience and a party hole. And even this year, on hole 6, a family hole, because we want this to be a place for everyone. We want everyone to feel comfortable here and welcome here. I will tell you what's really exciting for me is just to sit with the players and hear. I'm excited to hear what Brooks has to say, but there's a rush in coming here. Like, there's a genuine excitement about playing in Adelaide. And while there is incredible excitement all over Australia, as you can imagine, from markets interested, the place we want to be for the long haul is right here in Adelaide.
Scott, we say that we are the first truly global golf tour. We are bringing golf, world-class golf, to golf-starved markets around the world, and that is nowhere better on display than here in Adelaide, where we're breaking attendance records year on year. Can you just talk about the vision for LIV Golf being the first truly global golf tour?
You know, you don't have to look too far past tennis. You know, I always think about how do you look at other sports as models, and I think the Australian Open here is a good example with tennis. You know, it's a world-class event, and for a moment the tennis world starts and stops here, and golf seems to be very centered on the United States, and yet when you look at the golf world, and you look at Australia, and the UK, and Hong Kong and Singapore and all the incredible cities we're blessed to go play. Riyadh last week, you know, we're taking the game to the world where golf fans around the world want to see the greatest players on the biggest stages. And we feel like that is an opportunity, it's a privilege, and a bit of an obligation.
And how important is that just to growing the game of golf as a whole?
You know, this game is in great hands, you know, and the game's growing. I think 3.5 million more golfers in 24 than there were in 23. So the game is wonderful, and that's not an accident. This is one of the world's great teachers, right? It teaches you resilience, right? It teaches you patience. It teaches you consistency and integrity, because it's a self-scoring game. And so all those wonderful life lessons you get from golf matched with a sport that's growing, matched in an environment in a place like Adelaide where fans come from all over the world and all over Australia to come together to have an experience of a lifetime. It's a pretty good fit.
Teaches you anger management too.
It
Brooks,
sure does.
we've heard from the executives. We want to hear from your perspective now as a player. Well, first of all, where does LIV Golf Adelaide rank on your list of all of our events? You've been with us from the very beginning. Talk about that.
Yeah, I think I know that I can speak for all the players. This is the one event every year that we look forward to coming back, right? We've got the most fans, the most energy. That's what LIV Golf's about. Make it fun for the players, make it fun for the fans and families that come out. And I think this event just proves exactly what we've been trying to do for year after year. And this is the pinnacle of our events. And hopefully in the future, this is the bar that we set.
You are back for year 3. What is your favorite memory so far at a LIV Golf Adelaide event?
That one's pretty easy for me. My brother making the hole-in-one. I think that's pretty easy. It's funny because I practice with him at home quite a bit, especially now that he's back playing again. And it's the one topic I think that's brought up pretty much every time we're together. He still thinks he's the mayor of Adelaide. He still calls himself that. So it's quite fun. We get a good laugh. And I was even joking with him because I think he's off this week. I was like, dude, you got to come down. So trying to convince him to come back. And it'd be fun. It'd be a good experience for him. Hopefully he's back here playing in a few years. And he plays well enough in the international series and gets back here, or the promotions event, which is huge. So look, what we're doing is super innovative and very cool. And it's just I'm glad to see it from a player's perspective that it's taken off.
We just talked about the iconic moment with Chase, which took place on the LIV Golf watering hole. There's nothing like that in the world of golf. From a player's perspective, again, can you just talk about that experience walking through the tunnel with your walkout song blaring? You walk out to the cheers. What does that experience feel like?
It's incredible. I think it doesn't start just on the watering hole. It's the lead-up holes to it. I think once you walk off 9 green as a player, you can start to hear the music going. You hear the players being announced. You can hear the energy that's going, and it affects the whole golf course. So it's not just that one hole, but it affects the whole golf course. And you're anxious just to get there and hopefully hit a good shot. But the excitement when you leave the 11th green is that's what sports are about, right? There's this iconic moment or this iconic setup that everyone's looking forward to. And as fans, they have that there. And then as the players, once we get there, it's just pure excitement, and you just better hit that green. That's all I can say.
I think I can speak for everyone. We're all ready for the show this week. I'm going to go ahead and open it up to media. If you guys can please raise your hand, and we'll bring a mic over to you. We've got Evan Priest from Golf Digest over here. Over here, James. Thanks.
Quick question for Brooks. You've basically won on every tour at every stage all around the world. What's the common denominator that makes a great golf tournament that you see at LIV Adelaide?
To me, I think number one, a good golf course and the fans. The fans are what get us going. You look at any other sport across, it's amazing to me, right? You always have a home base, so there's home fans that are cheering for you. But golf, there's never an actual true home base, unlike the Rippers here this week. And you can see that's probably why they played so well last year, right? If there's an excitement or a buzz going on as a player, that gets you excited. And they do a phenomenal job. The fans are incredible here. And this is, like I said, that's why I think I can speak for every player. That's why there's so much excitement and buzz coming to this place.
Follow up, obviously with the announcement of the exemptions into the US Open and the Open Championships, not something you have to think about now as a multiple major winner, but how good is that for the Joaquins and the Taylor Gooches of the league to have that in place?
Yeah, this is the first step of many, I think, that we're looking to take. It's the opportunities there. I think the organizations around the world, the RNA, the USGA, they're looking at LIV Golf as part of the golf ecosystem now. With that is a huge, huge step forward for us. And hopefully we have a player that's not exempt, that's up there ready to go and gets in another major, because all it does is just add value to this league and to each team.
Thanks.
Okay. Raise your hand. You Brad Clifton back there.
G'day guys, Brad here from Golf Digest. Great to see you all back again. interested to get your thoughts. It's a bit weird not seeing Greg up here at LIV Golf Adelaide. I know Pete, obviously from the starting point, had a great time with Greg and planning what this has become. Just interested to see if there's any involvement in Greg in the tournament moving forward, and Scott, a warm welcome and big shoes to fill.
Just 10 and a halves here for sure. You know, whenever you take on a new opportunity, you always, if you're smart and humble enough and earnest enough, you spend quite a bit of time with your predecessor. Mine just happens to be one of the greatest golfers of all time, of which I am not, sadly.
I can attest to that.
We did play last week. I did outdrive you. I had a 200-yard head start. You know, in the pro-ams, they put the pros way back, and we're up a bit. But it was a glory moment for me. But nonetheless, Greg is an icon. He's a friend. He is the reason I'm here today. I spent quite a bit of time with him in my 30-day lead up to this role and every day since, engaging, asking questions, and learning. And I hope that he is part of LIV forever. We just had a board meeting last week. He sits on the board, which is another wonderful testament that we can tap into his experience, his leadership, his friendship. And he challenges, too, at the board meeting. I was hoping for a friendly on the other side of the table, but he mixes it up pretty good. So, no, it's quite a gift to have him as part of LIV. I feel like, you know, he was the right person at the right time, and I hope I can stand on the shoulder of giants and move the league forward. You know, I'm very different. You know, I don't come from the golf world, but I do come from the world of sports, American sports. And I'm really proud, humbled, and inspired to be able to walk behind him and take this league forward.
And now I'll add to that, just from the South Australian government's perspective. You know, we're not here doing this in South Australia not for Greg's vision and leadership, but more than that, also the practice of good judgment. You know, the easiest thing for Greg to have done at the time would have been to put this event on the eastern seaboard of Australia, you know, in Sydney. That's the orthodox thing to do. And he exercised the judgment to take a risk and put it here in Adelaide, and the rest is history. It worked. And to that end, I don't just have a sense of gratitude. I have a hope and an expectation that to the extent that Greg is able to be involved in the event in the future, that's obviously something we want to embrace. And Scott and I were talking about this earlier, and you know, we're really happy about it. I'm catching up with Greg over the next couple of days, which will be great, just to catch up as a mate as much as anything else, but also just to talk about ideas and golf more broadly. I think that the thing that I'm aware of, and you know, you forgive me for not wanting to make sure that South Australia puts top of its mind, is there is an Olympics coming to this country in the not too distant future. Greg's now on the organising committee. Greg sees the power of collaboration with government. Obviously, the Olympics is going to be centred in in Brisbane, but there will be things that happen around outside of that. And Greg's perspective, particularly in event management and bold leadership, I think is a coup for Brisbane Olympics and the country. But more broadly, from South Australia's perspective, an opportunity to be able to engage in a lasting and ongoing way. And we'd be crazy not to capitalise on that in every moment. So we don't see sort of, you know, obviously there's been a really smooth transition in LIV, and Scott's now the CE, and we're very grateful for Scott's stewardship as it goes into a growth and new phase. But that doesn't, from the South Australian government's perspective, our relationship with Greg will be enduring, and hopefully he's got a lot more to offer in a different context into the future.
Okay, I believe we have one over there.
Oh, hi, Matt Smith, ABC News. Scott, two questions. One, are you relieved that it won't be a 43-degree day when the tournament starts? And secondly, is there any possibility of LIV playing a second event in Australia in the future?
I'll take that.
Which one you want to take, the weather or the, from a weather standpoint, I'm always nice and comfortable in the air conditioning, so I'm more worried about Brooks. Now, you know, it's amazing with the stars we have in this league. They're fierce competitors, fierce, and they're ridiculously gifted athletes. And And I wish for a moment that golf fans around the world understood how hard these guys work in the off season to get themselves ready. It's quite a privilege just in my short tenure here to like recognize how, I mean, these guys are beasts. And so a little sun, a little heat, a little wind, a little rain, a little cold. I think that, you know, they're like the U.S. Postal Service a bit. You know, they just keep on chugging. And and the only time you'll hear a complaint is when they miss a putt. That's it. So from my perspective, it's beautiful to be out in the summer season. It's wonderful to feel some sun on my face, quite frankly, coming from the U.S. And we're thrilled to be here. Your second question was on the second event. You know, well, first off, we love the event here, and it's clearly proven itself as an elite golf market. When you show up with superstars, a constellation of stars as we have in this league, and you know, but I do feel like an intense and pressure and obligation for the markets of interest to bring golf around the world. And so at this particular moment, we're going to focus on Adelaide.
Okay, there's one behind. Same question? Okay.
Exactly the same question. That's amazing. No, you don't have to.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's Will from Nine. Well, Premier, the first question was for you. We obviously have it until next year, but as it gets bigger, does it get harder to retain?
Look, we've made no secret of the fact we understand that it's a competitive environment. You know, part of our frustration is, you know, South Australia has a history of going first on an event, building it up to be something magnificent, and then other jurisdictions come to try and pinch it off of us. As I said earlier, we've got to earn the right. You know, I can't look Scott in the eye and say, look, you have to bring LIV back to Adelaide just because we've had it before. We have to earn the right to be here. We have to show that we're committed to it. We have to show we're willing to invest in it. And that's the collaboration. So we're not resting on our laurels. We understand there are other jurisdictions that would like this event. I get that. We just got to work at it.
And then, Scott, the question was, you've said that you'll be focusing on Adelaide. So would it take an offer you can't refuse to remove it from Adelaide and go to another Australian jurisdiction?
It's a well-phrased question. You know, our intention is to be back in Adelaide. That's our intention. We have had interest, as you might imagine, given the success of this event. But I started this press conference just by talking about like the key elements and ingredients, and you don't have to look too far when you have extraordinary, I don't mean to make this uncomfortable for you, but extraordinary civic leadership. You have visionary leadership. You have world-class golf course. You have a place where our players are comfortable. You have extraordinary restaurants. The hospitality is great. The people are great. So I hope that we're here for a very long time. That's the intention.
I think Evan had a follow-up for you, Scott, over here.
Hey, Scott. Just with the news sort of emerging that the framework agreement between the PIF and the PGA Tour is sort of moving forward, I just want to know what your involvement in that, and what do you have to think about as the LIV Golf CEO as that progresses?
Sure. So, PIF, they're the investor and creator of LIV, okay? PIF is a sovereign wealth fund of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and they are likely to make an investment into PGA Tour Enterprises, okay? A new structure that a collection of U.S. investors invested in. And so, for us at LIV, we're hoping that unlocks opportunity. That may unlock opportunity with markets, with courses, with marketing partners, with television networks, with growing the game, with competition opportunities, with new formats. But we're pretty. I grew up in New York. If you haven't been able to tell so far by my funny accent, and the state motto is Excelsior, which means kind of onwards and upwards, effectively. And we're very excited about the potential investment with PIF and PGA Tour Enterprises. But I will tell you, it's been a short 40 days here, but in the 40 days, I've seen a U.S. agreement with Fox, broadcast agreement. I've seen a UK agreement with ITV to get us over the air in the UK. It's the only golf that'll be over the air in the UK. I've seen our first pillar partnership with Madden. I've seen stars extended. I've seen a successful event in Riyadh. I've seen interest from all over the world. We're now our broadcast in 100 countries and territories, over 800 million households. So I see momentum, and you don't have to look too far from here to feel like we're going to have the largest event in the history of LIV Golf here, right here in Adelaide. So from my perspective, we have incredible interest with television broadcast networks, which has been a bit of a Achilles heel for us. Sponsors, marketing partners as we call them, seems to be interest that the group has never seen before. Attendance seems to be something that's going in this trajectory. And so I'm excited about the agreement. I think that right now we are going to the moon and back. And I hope that'll help as an accelerant, but I'm very confident in where we are in this business and the interest we have currently.
There's time for one more over there.
Hey guys, Steve here from the Watering Hole podcast. Premier, well done again, and Scott, warm welcome to Adelaide. Questions for Brooks. John Rahm recently said that Grange has the greatest bunkers he's seen in his life. How does Grange looking this week? How's it set up? Who are going to be the big players this week?
Brooks is never in the bunker.
I was going to say that, actually. Look, this golf course is in phenomenal shape. Some of the purest greens I think we play all year on LIV, and it's exciting. I know, like I've said it earlier, the players are excited to get down here to play. It's a fun event. This golf course is in incredible shape. I mean, I actually love the fact it's this hot right now because it might firm this golf course up a little bit. And I think you're really going to see a true Australian golf course test. That's what I believe. Obviously, probably Cam's the favorite. Cam's definitely the fan favorite. So it's hard to go against that. But there's so many guys playing well. John Tyrrell's playing phenomenal golf. I don't think he's finished outside the top 5 in his last maybe 6 events or something like that. So there's a lot of guys that are playing well. And it's a big year, Ryder Cup year. So guys are looking to play well on both sides, the European side, our side, and the States. And it's just there's a lot to play for this season, so there's a lot of hungry guys.
Brooks, you mind adding something about some of the young talent? That's the thing that blew me away in Riyadh.
Yeah, look, I've said it for years. It's amazing to me these guys are as young as 20.
20, Caleb's 20.
Yeah, 20 to, I think, the oldest rookie, maybe 24. Is that right? When they come out of either college or they're in this 20 to 24 range, I've never seen every generation that just comes out. It's amazing how ready they are to compete and win. And I think it's so impressive because I know where I was myself at 20, 24. I was just trying to figure it out and understand the game. And I don't really think until 26, 27, you start to kind of gather all that information and really progress. Where you believe you can win. And years before, it was almost 30 to 40 was your years to make hay and go. And these kids come out younger and younger, and they're ready to not just compete, but they're ready to actually win. And that's the huge difference. And you're starting to see it out here with a bunch of the younger guys coming. And then hopefully in 2, 3, 4 more years, we've got the next group of superstars lined up, ready to go.
Thank you all so much for your time today. Premier, thank you for welcoming us with open arms year after year. Thank you to SATC, and let's show the world why this was named the world's best golf event. Let's go. Thank you, guys.